found it buried. Not gold, not jewels, but something far more valuable. In 1849, deep within the forgotten ruins of ancient Nineveh, archaeologists unearthed fragments from a king's lost library. Clay tablet. But when scholars finally deciphered the Akkadian cuneiform, what they uncovered shattered every known idea of creation. A detailed account, not of humanity's or Earth's beginning, but of a brutal cosmic war, fought long before either existed. A war among gods in a realm beyond our comprehension. This was no gentle myth. It spoke of weapons, of casualties, of a defeated faction exiled to the abyss. Conflict Mesopotamian scribes recorded 3,000 years ago. An event so profound mainstream archaeology still struggles to classify. What exactly were they describing? Today, those same clay tablets rest in climate-controlled cases in the British Museum. Millions walk past them yearly, oblivious to the explosive narrative etched into their ancient surfaces. These 7 tablets, known as the Enuma Elish, tell the Babylonian creation story. But the act of creation comes late. The first 4 tablets are consumed by warfare, strategy, divine bloodshed on an unimaginable scale. Scholars like Stephanie Daly of Oxford University have dedicated decades to translating these lines. This is a coherent, sequential narrative with a clear beginning, a brutal middle, and a cataclysm. What makes these tablets so uniquely unsettling is their undeniable specificity. The scribes were not crafting poetry for mere entertainment. They were recording what their civilization believed to be historical fact. The grand temples of Babylon recited these very words during sacred New Year ceremonies. Whatever the Enuma Elish recounts, the people of ancient Mesopotamia considered it the foundational story of existence, and it began with war. The first tablet opens with absolute primordial chaos. Before Earth, before humanity, before the physical cosmos as we understand it. In the deepest beginning, the text states, there was only Absu, the fresh water, in Tiamat, the vast churning salts. From their mingling, the first generation of gods emerged. The text assigns them names and personalities, not abstract forces, leading to an escalating, deadly conflict. Eventually, they would go to war. The younger gods were loud. Their clamor pierced the primeval silence. Absu, their progenitor, found no rest. His peace was shattered. So he made a terrifying decision: destroy them all. Eliminate the younger generation entirely, and restore the absolute silence of the void. The tablets describe Absu's plan with chilling intent and precise, genocidal consequence. But the younger gods learned of the plot. He, renowned for wisdom and magic, struck first. He constructed a ritual circle, crafted a sacred spell, and poured an unbreakable sleep upon Absu. He bound him. Then he killed him. He slew him. He took his crown. He established his dwelling upon Absu's body. This was tactical, preemptive, brutal warfare. The first act of divine regicide in a cosmic war that would define all creation. Tiamat, widow of Absu, watched her husband fall. For a time she remained silent in the primordial waters, but the younger gods grew bold and reckless. They disturbed her sacred waters. They mocked her grief. Tiamat began her counter-campaign. Her vengeance. The text shifts, reading like ancient battlefield reports. Tiamat raised an army. The tablets name 11 specific monster types she engineered for war. Serpents with venom for blood, the Moshusu dragon, fishman, and scorpion warriors. The text describes their physical forms and battle readiness. Mesopotamian cylinder seals, carved across centuries, depicted these very beings, a monstrous host assembled by a grieving goddess bent on absolute retribution. Tiamat needed a commander. She appointed Kingu, one of the older gods, giving him the Tablet of Destinies. This artifact, appearing throughout Mesopotamian mythology, is the ultimate source of cosmic authority. Whoever holds it controls fate. Tiamat handed supreme power to her general, organized ranks, and prepared for annihilating war. The younger gods panicked. Their fear was explicit. Several deities dared approach Tiamat's monstrous army, but recoiled in terror. None could face her horrifying host. The divine assembly fell into chaos. Desperate, they needed a champion. But no god would volunteer. Their profound fear made defeat feel inevitable. Then, from the panic and desperate silence, Marduk stepped forward. Young, ambitious, and incredibly powerful, his offer came with uncompromising conditions. Marduk would fight Tiamat and her army alone, but if he won, the divine assembly had to grant him supreme authority over all gods. He would become king of the cosmos. This was cold, calculated political negotiation. The assembly agreed they had no choice. And so they prepared Marduk for battle. The text lists his weapons with precise detail. They gave him a net woven from cosmic energies to ensnare Tiamat, and stationed the four winds capable of entering and bloating her from within. They crafted the bow, the mace, and armed him with lightning. This reads like an equipment requisition for a specific, brutal tactical purpose. Marduk rode to war in a storm chariot, wearing armor of pure terror, fire blazing from his lips. The text builds his approach towards an inevitable, cataclysmic confrontation. Then he met Tiamat. The battle sequence, dozens of lines long, describes visceral divine combat. Marduk challenged Tiamat to single combat. She screamed and trembled with rage as their bodies joined in a tempestuous, cosmic struggle. But when she opened her mouth to devour him, Marduk released the four winds into it. The evil wind filled her belly, distending and bloating her. While she was helpless, stretched taut with cosmic force, Marduk shot an arrow through her very heart. Tiamat fell. Marduk stood upon her corpse, but he was not finished. He captured her army, the 11 monster types, binding them in chains. Kingu, her general, was seized and stripped of the Tablet of Destinies. Marduk took cosmic authority for himself, the ultimate prize of war. And then he did something that changes our understanding. He split Tiamat's massive body in two. Half became the sky, half the earth. Our very planet was formed from the corpse of a defeated god. This is not gradual creation through divine will, but construction using the spoils of war. Earth itself, according to this ancient text, exists because one faction won a cosmic conflict, a brutal victory. The surviving gods were assigned stations, beginning the endless labor of maintaining creation. But they complained bitterly. The work was too hard, the tasks beneath them. Groaning under the burden of cosmic maintenance, they demanded relief. This is where humanity enters the story. Our creation, as described, is profoundly unsettling. Marduk convened the assembly again. The gods voiced their grievances, demanding absolute relief. So Marduk proposed a solution: create a new servant species to bear the yoke of endless, arduous work the gods found so burdensome. The assembly agreed, desperate. But creation required sacrifice. Kingu, the captured general, was brought forward. His blood was drained. From that divine blood, mixed with the clay of the earth, humanity was fashioned. We were made from the blood of a war criminal to serve as replacement labor for tired gods. The purpose of human existence, according to the Enuma Elish, is to free the gods from work. Mainstream archaeology often interprets these tablets as political propaganda. Babylon rose to immense power in the second millennium BCE, and Marduk was Babylon's patron. The Enuma Elish elevated Marduk above older Sumerian deities, justifying Babylon's imperial claims through divine narrative. This reading has undeniable merit. Political mythology is well documented, but this explanation doesn't fully address certain details. The tactical precision of the battle sequences far exceeds what propaganda requires. The organizational structures, chains of command, weapon specifications, and post-war political negotiations serve no obvious theological purpose. They read like a chronicle, like someone trying to record events they believed truly happened. The Atrahasis epic, another Akkadian text from roughly 1700 BCE, tells a parallel story. In this version, the gods, called the Egiyi, were forced to dig canals. After 3,600 years of back-breaking labor, they rebelled, burning their tools and surrounding the chief god's dwelling. This divine labor strike forced the creation of humanity. Two separate ancient texts preserved on different tablets from different periods, yet they tell essentially the same story. Divine beings fought, the losers were punished with labor, and eventually, that labor was transferred to a newly created servant species. Cross-cultural parallels exist beyond Mesopotamia. Greek mythology describes the Titanomachy, a war between Olympians and Titans that preceded human existence, with losers cast into Tartarus. Norse mythology recounts wars among the gods before the current cosmic order stabilized. The Vedic texts of India describe divine conflicts over cosmic sovereignty. These cultures with limited contact preserved strikingly similar narratives of cosmic conflict, of a war in heaven. Perhaps these are all metaphors for natural forces, or ancient people simply invented war stories to explain phenomena they did not understand. This is the standard, comforting scholarly position, but the convergence remains difficult to dismiss. Multiple civilizations across continents and millennia recorded memories of wars in heaven that preceded human history. The tablets themselves are real. They are not hidden or secret. You can visit the British Museum and see them behind glass. The translations are published, and scholars refine their understanding of Akkadian grammar and vocabulary. This material has been available for over 150 years. What we make of it remains open, a terrifying question. The scribes of Babylon believed they were recording truth. They passed these stories down through generations, carving them into clay, meant to last forever. Whether preserving propaganda, mythology, or something else entirely, the text survived. Somewhere in that ancient cuneiform, a scribe wrote about a war fought before Earth existed. He described weapons, monsters, and the corpse of a god becoming the ground beneath our feet. He explained that humans were made from blood and clay to serve beings who found labor beneath them. 3,000 years later, those words are still waiting to be fully understood. The tablets have told us what they contain. The question now is what we believe the ancient scribes were actually describing, and what that truth means for our own existence. If you are ready to question everything, acknowledge the echoes of forgotten wars in the comments.